Messi, Trump, and a sentence that today, in a matter of seconds, lit the most eternal fire in football all over again. Because this didn't happen on a sports show, it didn't happen on a podcast, it didn't happen in a locker room talk, it happened in the place where decisions get signed that can change countries, the White House. Inter Miami arrived in Washington as the 2025 MLS Cup champions in one of those very American traditions. The president receives the champions, photo op, handshake, smiles, great job, done. But with Messi in the middle, nothing is ever photo and done. With Messi, everything becomes a symbol. And with Trump, everything becomes a headline. And then, today, it happened. Trump said it, live, in front of cameras. He dropped the comparison that has no breaks, Messi or Pelé. And when someone in the crowd shouted Messi, he finished it with a short, lethal line that the algorithm has already turned into war. I agree. I think he is. That's it. There's no going back. Because the problem isn't the sentence. The problem is what it triggers. It triggers history. It triggers pride. It triggers memory. It triggers football religion. It triggers the people who grew up seeing Pelé as an impossible myth. It triggers the people who watched Messi break the sport for 20 years with inhuman calm. It triggers the people who hate when a politician touches football. And above all, it triggers the people who live to argue about this every day like it's a final. And the timing is the craziest part. Because there are 99 days left until the 2026 World Cup kicks off. 99. In 99 days, the ball rolls and the planet splits into camps again. The fever turns on. The noise speeds up. Old wounds reopen. And in the build-up to the biggest World Cup in history, with 48 teams and 104 matches, Trump shows up in the White House and says what you're not supposed to say. Messi above Pelé. Do you understand the scale of that moment? Because this isn't just praise. It's a media coronation. And it's exactly the kind of thing that 99 days from a World Cup changes the atmosphere. Today, football isn't talking about a goal. It's talking about authority, about who has the right to say who the greatest is, about who can compare eras, about who dares to touch Pelé's altar. And here's the most interesting part. Trump isn't naive. Trump understands something football has always known. Debate is fuel. In modern football, a goal lasts 24 hours. The GOAT argument lasts decades. And when a president sticks his hand into that fire, he's not doing it for sport. He's doing it for impact. Because today, with one sentence, Trump pulled off three things at the same time. First, he turned a protocol visit into a global event. Second, he put Messi at the center of the conversation without Messi saying a single word. And third, he ignited a discussion that doesn't need proof, because it feeds on belief. And in the middle of it all, Messi. The wildest detail is that Messi isn't a character who needs this kind of validation. Messi didn't build his career with speeches. He built it with facts, with goals, with passes, with finals, with moments, with that feeling that when everything breaks, he shows up and puts it back in order. But still, the world works the way it works. Narrative runs the show. And so the question appears on its own. Why does this line hit so hard? Because Pelé isn't just Pelé. Pelé is the name people use when they want to put a ceiling on greatness. Up to here. Bigger than Pelé, there isn't. Pelé is the symbol of the era when football became a planetary myth. And Messi is the symbol of something else. The era when the myth became repeatable. The era where you watch an impossible pass on video 100 times. You analyze it, you edit it, you share it, you meme it. And it still looks impossible. So when Trump says Messi is better than Pelé, he's not comparing two players. He's comparing two worlds. He's comparing football that was told like a legend with football that's consumed like evidence. And that hurts. That's why the war starts. Now add the context of this specific moment. 99 days until the World Cup. And when it's that close, the planet flips into football final judgment mode. The same topics come back, but with more poison. Who's arriving in better form? Who's healthier? Who has the story? Who has the body? Who has the hunger? And at the center of it all, Messi, again. Because this 2026 World Cup, whether we like it or not, feels like a definitive chapter, the last great stage to seal an era. And football loves endings. It loves last dances. It loves the idea of one last time. So for a voice like Trump to show up 99 days before the World Cup and say that line, it's like tossing a match into a room full of gasoline. Now, the most dangerous part of that line isn't the comparison to Pelé. The most dangerous part is the subliminal message. I, from power, decide who the greatest is. And that's where football becomes politics. And that's where people become an army. Because fans don't hear opinion, they hear verdict. And look, this also exposes an uncomfortable truth about how GOATs get built. GOATs aren't built only with stats. They're built with validations, with lines, with photos, with moments, with symbols. Messi already has everything football-wise. Titles, records, finals, years of dominance, a World Cup, historic nights. But the world always asks for one more layer, the layer of global narrative. And today, Trump put that layer on him with a sentence. Now, what happens to Pelé in all of this? The usual thing that happens when you touch a legend. The world splits between those who protect the temple and those who want to open it. The temple. Protectors say, Pelé is untouchable. You don't compare. You don't debate. Period. The ones who want to open it say, you compare because football kept moving, because the sport evolved, because the demands changed, because the competition changed, because the game changed, and both sides believe they're right. So what does Messi do while all of this explodes? Messi does what he's done his whole life. He exists and lets everyone else scream. It's almost cruel, because today the world is fighting over him, and he doesn't even need to raise his voice. And here comes the perfect twist for a script 99 days before the World Cup. These kinds of lines don't just reheat the past, they also reheat the future. Because if the World Cup starts in 99 days, everything that happens from today until the first match will be viewed differently. Every Messi goal in MLS will be proof, every assist will be evidence, every quiet game will be a sign of decline. Every injury, every rest day, every gesture, every word will weigh twice as much. And if you add that this happened in the United States, the host country, at the center of the planet's media show, you understand why the line hit so hard. It wasn't a comment in a bar. It was the World Cup script starting early. Because the World Cup doesn't start when the ball rolls. It starts when the planet chooses what story it wants to tell. And today, with that line, Trump pushed one very specific story. The absolute Messi. The crowned Messi. The Messi who no longer competes. He sits at the top. And in the clip era, that's a bomb. Now to close this script the way it should be closed, with rhythm, and with a question that basically serves the comments up on a plate. You can love Messi or you can't stand him. You can believe Pelé is untouchable, or you can believe football changed. You can hate that Trump touched the topic, or you can enjoy the chaos. But one thing can't be denied. It was said today. It landed today. It ignited today. And 99 days before the World Cup, the debate heating up like this isn't an accident. Because football, when it smells the World Cup, turns tribal. And when it turns tribal, it needs a fight. Today the fight was Messi versus Pelé, put into words by the most provocative guy possible. And now, the final question. The one that gives you the perfect ending and opens the comments without dragging Cristiano into the middle of the whole script. What do you think Cristiano is thinking right now about what Trump said today about Messi?